Welcome to another Tea with Taiko. Thank you everyone for joining. This week's session, we're going to have something slightly different. We're going to be inviting a couple of members from our community who are contributors to the code, and we're going to do something slightly special as well. So we're going to have a live demo. So for all of you guys who are interested in running a node, we're going to do a live demo of a node installation, and also we're going to do a live demo of the dashboard as well. So first of all, let me introduce the two members that we're going to be inviting, and in no particular order. We're going to be inviting Wolfez, who is one of our all-star developers who've been helping in all of the developer channels. So you've probably seen him floating around, assisting all the questions that have been taking place in those various channels. And also we're going to be inviting Helios as well. Some of you will probably know him as one of our all-star moderators. So you'll have seen him on our Discord helping all the members answering their questions as well. So let's try to bring those guys on board. Hey, Wolfez and Helios, if you want to just raise your hands and see if we can invite you to speak.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
What's going
Hey,
on?
Okay, let's
hey,
go.
welcome, guys.
Hey,
Hey, Dave. Yeah,
What's
so
going on?
welcome, guys. I guess maybe we do a quick introduction to you guys first of all. I know that you guys are probably real OGs here, and you've been on this server since day one. So maybe you can just give a brief introduction to yourselves, and what brought you to Taiko. So maybe either one of you can start, Helios or Wolfez.
Yeah, Wolves, if you want to go first.
Yeah,
Mike's a little
nothing
low.
much to say. I just came here from Loopring originally because I followed Daniel and a few other loopers in here, and I've just been following along ever since.
Excellent, excellent. Helios, what about you?
Nice. Yeah, similar. I met me and Wolves had talked a lot in Loopring Discord before, and when this one opened up, we kind of flew in and started just poking around. So we were very familiar with each other, but it wasn't until later that we started to investigate kind of this node interface, this GUI around nodes and around Ethereum nodes even.
Right. So I guess the question from our side is, what actually inspired you to build your application? Because I read your article and I was fascinated about some of the background, and maybe some of the people on this call haven't read the actual discourse post that you guys made, but I was fascinated by the actual napkin view that you guys made. So what actually inspired you guys to write all of this, and how did it all start off?
So Wolves is definitely the coder aspect, and we were talking the before Alpha 1. There was this combo of, are there going to be nodes that we can use in a user friendly way, and that's what the general user interface, the GUI, is, and it just the argument that it would really help out to have more participation in the network if there's a really easy way versus like Rocket Pool, which we also were both pretty fond of. It's very technical to set up the validator to do stuff. You got to really know what you're doing, and just the average person who spins up a computer that's powerful enough doesn't really. It's a barrier to entry. So we both started looking into this protocol called Nice Node at the time, which was making some kind of interface of this for Ethereum validating. And then I was like, "Oh, Wolves, you're over here too." And that's when we first started thinking together, like, what could this look like? What could this process be? Having a more user friendly interface to be operating a node. And then we realized the one Taiko had made was actually quite nice. Was much nicer already in the Alpha One. Was really quite nice, but it didn't have that element of like the visual thing that you see. So that's kind of where
Right,
we started off.
right.
Well,
So,
if
so
you
you
had to
guys
say
are,
something, I think is
so you guys wanted to make some sort of like GUI interface for the editions, right?
Yeah, I originally built it for myself, kinda, because it was really hard to see, oh, am I synced yet? What's the progress? You had to go into the code, into the command line and see what's up. And then when I started, I thought, okay, how can I onboard more people, make it accessible for everyone? And then we just got from there and ended up with something really nice.
Excellent, excellent. So I guess we're going to have some prerequisites then to before we actually install the dashboard and get to view that. And I know that there have been a number of people from the community asking us about how to actually install a node. So I think, what we'll do first of all, Wolfez, if you don't mind, we could do a live demo. And I think, you can help us show all of our community how to do a node installation from scratch. And also then we can talk more about your dashboard and how to install that.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent.
Let's see.
So if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen, then we can take it from there.
Okay, should be it. Do you guys see my screen?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, nice. So first of all, you just go to this repository of mine, or you can use the Taiko one if you don't want the dashboard. So in here, you just follow along the documentation. You see a few lines you have to do, and you're good to go. We'll do them one by one. So I'm in here in a folder, and then I just copy the code, git clone. Okay, then we do a change directly into the new folder. So as you can see, and here, then we just do a copy command. So this is an error most of you might see because I'm on Windows right now. I can't use the cp command, so I'll use the copy command instead. Okay, and then you just have to open the .env file with something. I'm using Notepad now, but you can also use Nano or something else.
Hey, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see like Notepad on the screen or anything or the copy command that you were talking about. Is that just me? Or
What do
I
you see?
think you need to
Click
blow
on
up
this
the
like a
screen.
screen box.
It should be good.
maybe it's a separate screen. I don't know.
Do you not see the Notepad?
Yep, I
I
can see
do
it
now.
fine.
I can see
Yeah.
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay, cool.
Hold
It's
on a
probably my
second. No,
fault then.
Wolf.
Sorry.
Umide is saying it's freezing a little bit, so maybe let everything catch up.
Oh,
Let's leave in a
let's see if
comment.
I can change the quality a bit lower. How about now?
So for
I see it.
anyone also in the audience, if you there should be another screen of a person that's Wolf's, and then it's his desktop. And if you click on that, it'll make it larger. And here we'll see what he's presenting. Looks fine here. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, okay. And then you just need to go to an RPC provider like Alchemy to get API keys for Ethereum nodes. I'll just do that really quick. So the important part here is that you select an Ethereum Sepolia network node and not mainnet because we're in testnet and we use Sepolia right now. So I'll just name a demo. Then we just create the app. Okay, we just view the key. And then you'll see two values we'll have to copy over. And then in here we scroll a bit. And that's really it. If you're just running a node, you can save now and go ahead. But if you're looking to run a proposer or prover also, you'll have to fill in a few more values, such as the private key, suggested fee recipient, approver private key, and then you'll have to change these values to true, but we're not going to do that in here. So now I can close this.
It
And
might just be worth quickly mentioning, just back on that screen there, that there's an enable sync setting as well, that, or
oh yeah,
disable sync setting. Some people have been having problems connecting to peers, so you can actually change that setting to true.
yes, indeed. So if you're having trouble syncing, you can change this value to true and restart your node, and it should fix itself. So try that out. So now we'll continue. So the next command is a docker compose up, and we'll add the -d command. So now we'll just wait. It's starting to pull. This will only take a minute max. If it's taking longer, there's probably something wrong and you should restart your system. Okay, almost. Okay. And now we can actually check Docker Desktop if you have that installed as well. We can go to the nodes, to the containers, and we can view some logs in here. If something's wrong, you can see it in here, but it should be good to go. So now final step is that we go to localhost 7, and we're here, the dashboard successfully. So now I'll talk a bit more about the dashboard, what you can do with it, what's important. So the main part is the cards, but also we have two little icons in here that you can click. If something's wrong with your node and it's not connecting successfully, you'll see it reflected in here, and you can change around with the connections, the API. So the best thing to do is run on the same machine, but you can also run the node on another machine and change it in here. I know a lot of you guys have been running the node on a VPS, so it's a nice feature that you can actually just change localhost to the IP address of your VPS, and you should still just connect fine. If you don't, you might need to open a port up. And another cool feature that you might not know is that if you run the machine inside your home network, you can just use the network IP address of that node and put it in here, and you can successfully connect to it without opening any ports, which is really cool. And I'll definitely use that once I get a dedicated box for the Taiko node. So the other thing is the settings. Here you put the Ethereum address if you're running a proposer or prover, and you can view some extra metrics about it. You can also change the layout or the theme. We'll go with dark for now. Yeah, if you put the custom address, you can really put any address. So you can also put other prover or proposers their address and see what their dashboard would look like. This can be quite handy if you're looking to see what others are up to. So right now we can see we have an uptime of 3 minutes, no connected peers. This is fine because we're still oh no, actually this isn't fine. So as you can see, we have still 0 blocks, and that's because the setting I mentioned early of the end file, see this, disable peer-to-peer sync, because I didn't put it to true. That's why we're not syncing right now, and I should probably change this to true and restart my node, but I'm not gonna right now. So we have three metrics on top. This will capture the system information. But one thing to note in here is that it's capturing the Docker stats and not your system-wide stats. So say for example you have 16 gigabytes of in your PC, but in here you'll see I'm using 1 gig and it's already 25%. That's because Docker has their own resources that which isn't really a bad thing because at the end of the day, those are the resources the Taiko node will have available. So it's nice to keep track of that. But the only downside is if you are running other things on Docker, those things will be in here as well. So as you can see, 15 gigabytes of storage is already used. That's because I have previously ran something else on Docker, and that's why it's saying that. And also another important thing to notice, if you really want the system-wide stats, so you want to know what is my whole system using instead of only Docker, you can actually achieve that fairly easily. You'll just have to run the system info, so this one. This is a node.js application. You have to run this on your machine instead of on Docker, which is quite easy, and then you can achieve that. So what else can we do? We can set the node to a proposer or prover. Oh yeah, another thing that's important is anything you change inside the dashboard. So now that I'm changing the type, or if I change the address, this won't reflect inside the node itself. It's only purely for the dashboard, and it's fine. You can change whatever in here, but if you want to change something, you have to go to the end file and change it in here and restart your nodes. So I think this wraps it up quite nicely and explains some of the features.
Wolves, maybe also show them the different color schemes that we got.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll go to them. So we put a few themes up. First we have the light mode. And oh yeah, I forgot the most important part is you can change the cards order. And then we have the paper mode as you've seen. You have the dark mode. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. If you have any feature requests or theme requests, feel free to drop them and I'll take a look at it and maybe implement it.
It's
Oh
really,
yeah,
really cool, Wolfez. You know, thank you very, very much for the demo. It's been very helpful. And
yes.
also, you know, just seeing how easy it is to install a node and, you know, violating all rights using a Windows machine, similar to myself as well. So, well done for that.
Thank you, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Wolfez or Helios? Feel free to come on the stage and you can ask.
Oh yeah, there's something else really important if you want to stay up to date. So you'll have to do a Docker compose down from time to time. Then you put the node offline, and then you'll have to do a git pull and a Docker compose pull to fetch the latest changes. I recommend doing this every few days.
Right, and that actually pulls the latest image files for the node software, right?
Yeah, indeed. So what's often overlooked is doing the git pull as well, but now there are no changes. And then the Docker compose pull. So as you can see, everything is already pulled, but if there are new updates available, you'll see it in here. And then you'll just start the node up again and you're good to go.
So I guess a point to remember here is that if you make any changes to the configuration files or you do one of these updates that you must stop your node and then restart it again.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Always put your node down, do the commands, and put it up again.
Awesome, awesome. So I think we've learned a lot today from this, and it's been a valuable lesson, at least from my side, to see how simple it is to install a node. You know, I've had a go at installing it myself, and yeah, it always looks easier when somebody else does it.
Yeah, I agree. It's always really nice if you can follow along with a video of someone else doing it instead of reading through some documentation.
Yes, most definitely. So, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? And by the way, guys, you know, this is like a new initiative we're running. So, you know, we do these tea with Taikos, show and tell. So if you guys have built any applications or dApps that run on Taiko, you've taken part in any hackathons, reach out to us, and you know you can be part of this community call, showing everybody how your applications work as well. So feel free just to reach out to me if you're interested in presenting to the rest of the community what you guys have actually built.
Thank you, Ben, for having us up here. And that was a loud truck. Moving forward, you know, I think we want to also get to a state that just pressing a few buttons on a web page will really make it all happen, and into a place where ideally it's like an application, you know, that you download and you run like a program, but maybe there's a web way to do it. And so there's still Wolf's, like I said, is on the technical side, developing ways that even that beginning part of the copying some lines into terminal or into that could also perhaps be streamlined in a way that's clicking a few user-friendly buttons that starts getting the whole machine running, and then, you know, the monitoring of it, I think, would be like a longer-term goal.
Yeah, that would be really cool. My own goal would be to have some buttons in here that you can just start and stop the nodes from the web page itself, and also do updates if that's possible. Those would be really cool, but a bit harder.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in and say, yeah, this is awesome, and I agree with those kind of like next step kind of things. It's like in a way, like the reason why this is so valuable, it's because it's kind of like setting up the right abstraction for the user. And like it's almost like when you look at the logs for something, you can do this thing where you can make the logs like verbose and it just shows like a bunch of stuff, or you can just do like regular logs and it shows some things. And it's like for this, like for most node runners, like they don't need to see like the billion logs. They just need to check this dashboard and to see like is everything running fine, like what's the status of it. um in terms of like doing a GUI, like we can talk more in the Discord about it. But one thing that I mean, some more controls like from the GUI is like I think one good idea is we can try to enshrine some of this Taiko node infrastructure into a more Ethereum centric, like public good kind of place. And one example of that is like ETH Docker, and like I know I'll work on that a little bit, and I think that could be cool if we could collaborate too. But if we use something like ETH Docker, and we can run like Taiko nodes from ETH Docker, then you have the option for people to use that more like complicated tooling, but we can always build on top of those primitives. Like for example, we could inside of ETH Docker, you can like import different Grafana files and you can see different dashboards. I feel like we could do the same thing with like this Taiko node dashboard. It's like it can be kind of like a plug and play piece. We can add it in there and then you can like view that dashboard from ETH Docker. And then on the front end, we can make it call those like kind of lower level commands like Docker compose down, Docker compose pool, like those things that you showed. Just call those lower level things under the hood and let the user just use the interface. So yeah, I think there's a lot of lot of cool promise here for the future, and like how we can I don't know, yeah, get make
Yeah,
this a little bit more
exactly.
extensible. Yeah.
I'll have to check out the eDocker to get some more information about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really hoping this dashboard can live long life and be reused a few times, maybe in some other places, and also be upgraded, of course. I'm personally already looking to upgrade the proposer and prover part. I can get some more information about the past proposed blocks, the fee you paid, the earnings you did.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I think that's a good suggestion. And if you have any guidance on like where, where to apply this, definitely helpful. And some I was, teasing Wolves about when we started having some recommendations of other dashboards. And there's people who've already started doing this. They want to know like their rocket pool node, how much it's running. And for me, coming from like a design background, it looks like a pilot, like a cockpit in a plane. That it's just so many dials and levers and numbers and switches that it's just almost numbing to see. And so that was part of that process. Like, what is the critical things that we need to see? The wallet balance. How much are we making? What is the CPU? And like that's where we started refining and refining what is the critical amount of information, because then it's really approachable for many, many, many people to secure the network and to start running. Even just a node is helping secure the network or participating in as a proposer or approver.
For sure, for sure. It's working in open source and on projects like this is a really interesting challenge actually, because you need to like there's so many things that you have to like take into account. It's like, how can we get more contributors to this dashboard, and like where should we put it, right? And you think of like how in the open source space it's like people can be working on things in parallel, but it can be kind of like the same thing. Like for example, we have like DApp node as well, which has like some GUI interface. I think this one looks way cleaner, by the way, but like kind of think like, how can we bring these things into like public goods for like the Ethereum space in general, even other L2s and things like that. And like, you know, one way is you can try to enhance that upstream project. Like, oh, we'll go into ETH Docker, we'll try to like add some docs for running the Taiko node dashboard and like try to improve that public good. But I feel like, just like a comment here, like one really good way to get these upstream changes is just forking the project. Like we can fork things like ETH Docker and make our changes, and then once we have a little bit more control there, and can get some more contributions, and then we can always merge those things like back upstream instead of having to deal with their whole review process and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing about the dashboard is actually you could easily fork it and just make it an Ethereum node dashboard instead of Taiko, or fork it into another protocol like Optimism for an Optimism node, for example. It
Oh, it's
wouldn't
awesome.
be too much changes and it would still be nice.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's like, it's kind of like it's really cool because it almost sets like a standard. Like it's other people could use this, like, they could add more tiles, remove tiles, use it for a different L2. Yeah, I think that kind of like decoupled design is really, really great. Cool. Awesome stuff, guys. This is sweet.
Thank you, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys, for attending. And we're right up to the 30 minutes now. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for the participation and the contribution here for this amazing dashboard. It's really helpful, really informative, and it keeps things simple for everybody as well. So yeah, just to wrap up, if anybody else wants to come on board and join our stage in terms of applications that you want to show off that you guys have developed, please reach out to me, and yeah, we can make it happen in one of these calls. Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you. Have a good one.
See you, everyone. Bye bye.